Hey everybody, hope everybody's doing well out there, staying safe and all that stuff. But what's going on today? What's he up to? Where's he at? What's going on? This doesn't look like the backyard. Doesn't look like my house. No, check this out. Where are we? Where could we be? Well, I'm out on the loose. Actually, I'm over at a field where I come to fly to practice. And why am I here? Well, good question. I'm glad you asked. Believe it or not, we're coming up on the 20th episode of the Drone Cav. And up until now, we've talked in all the episodes about little introductory things. A little bit about different models, some techniques. I've shown you a couple different sort of specialty shots. We've talked about camera settings. We've kind of just touched on a bunch of things. But now we're going to move forward a little bit. So if you think about the drone and the camera as two separate things. The drone is the platform to put the camera in the air where you want it to go. It's kind of obvious, but there's this tendency to want to just throw the drone in the air and hit the button and start recording. Now you got to really learn how to control the drone best first. So that way you can control it to get a nice smooth shot, whether it's video or you can put the aircraft exactly where you want to get a good still shot. Whatever. So we're going to start off now, changing things up a little bit. I'm going to be teaching you some things the way I would teach you if you were right here with me and we were doing like a one-on-one hands-on thing. So we're going to start at ground level, 101, some basics. Today I want to teach you a few very basic things. And you might even get a little chuckle out of it. It's so basic, but it is important. It's the stuff you will use all the time. And those three things are the three directions the drone flies: up, down, forward, back, and left and right. So it's really hot out here today. You're gonna have to deal with my bad hair day in the wind. Hey, it sucks, I know it. It's hard to get a haircut these days, but that's what we got. It's super scorching hot here in Florida, but it's a beautiful day. Light puffy clouds and golden sunshine. So let's get out here. I'm going to get the gear set up. I've got all kinds of stuff to get set up here. But even though I'm out here by myself in a big giant soccer field, football field thing, always safety first. So let's go get set up and put the drone in the air and talk about a few of these techniques to get you started. Okay, we're set up. Got our landing pad set up. Got our safety cones, which if I was going to be flying out very far, I'd probably move those out or mark off an area. And over here, of course, some gear bags, tripod, which I'll be moving the Osmo to here in just a second because we're going to do some tracking of the Evo in flight. But most importantly, and I can't stress this enough, keep you a big cup of water. Keep hydrated when you're out in the sun. Like right now, it's about 90 degrees, it's sunny, it's really hot, it's a scorcher here. So you can dehydrate out in the sun for very long, especially if you're going to be out flying for an hour or two. And so that's an important thing. And also think about the temperature of your batteries too. You want to keep them protected. I've got this camera bag I use, it's a low pro. It's pretty well insulated. And pop this guy open. So it keeps the batteries out of the sun. It's got some nice padding. I mean, it doesn't keep them ice cool. I mentioned in an earlier episode about keeping your batteries in like just a cooler, like an igloo beverage cooler. You're going to have them in the car for a while. So that helps build that insulation too. So, okay, let's get switched around here and get going. Sync. Okay. One of the first things we want to do is a little bit of a pre-flight checklist. Now, I've already got the drone itself set up. You see, I've got the landing pad. I've got the drone itself on the landing pad. I've got cones out in case I need to mark off an area. So I've already done a few of these things that we didn't need to walk through. I've checked the props, made sure they're installed correctly. Very importantly, I've taken off the gimbal guard, so the gimbal's free to move around when I power up the drone. So now we want to take a look at some things like our airspace and our weather. So I've talked about these apps before, but here we go again. You'll see kind of in the bottom here, the second one over from the left, UAV forecast. Let's open this guy. Now what this does, it takes a look at not only the weather but also the wind profile, the number of satellites that are locked, because you want to have, I don't fly typically with any less than 10 satellites locked, so you want to have that. The KP index, that's, believe it or not, sunspots that can affect your transmission if you're flying at a distance. But anyway, this gives you a nice snapshot. At the very top it'll tell you whether it's good to fly or if there's any caution. So as we can see here, there's not much to worry about right now. It's hot, it's 89 degrees. The winds are at 4 miles an hour, which is, you know, very, very calm, very calm. Gusts at 7 miles an hour, no chance of rain, good visibility. It's pretty much a picture-perfect day to fly. Down along the bottom, there's a few options. I'm going to jump over to this wind profile, and it's going to tell us what the wind is at different altitudes. Now today we're not flying very high, we're not flying very far. In fact, we're going to be staying pretty close because we're just doing a few basic maneuvers, moving up and down, back and forth, and rotating the drone. So we're not really going to have to worry about any of this stuff. But even, and we can't fly 5,000 feet, but even if we could, the wind's only gusting to 17 miles an hour, and Evo can pretty well handle winds up to mid-20s. So we're in good shape there. Now, we have to think about our flight area. Are there any issues around here where I'm at? Any airports nearby, any TFRs, which is a temporary flight restriction, any heliports, any emergency services going on? Is there anything that I don't need to be getting in the way of if I put the drone in the air? So, just above UAV forecast, we'll tap on Air Map. We'll launch Air Map up. It's going to take a look and see if it can find us, which it did, and it's given us a green check mark down at the bottom. Let's tap that for any more information. There are no advisories, so we're good to go there. So we're in a good, clean Class G airspace. That means we're not interfering with anything. There's no emergency activity going on around here right now, and we should be good to go. So now I'm going to power up the drone. Okay, now we've got everybody powered up. So we're going to basically do, again, like I mentioned earlier, 3 moves. And again, these are about as basic as you're going to get, but this is starting at ground level 101. But we're going to talk about these as we fly, so you get a little understanding of how these things can be important. And this is the kind of thing you want to just almost build into muscle memory, not get complacent with, but just sort of build in as a real basic fundamental to what you're doing. So, I'm going to bring both sticks down and toward the center. Now that powers up the drone. Now, your sticks have a few different modes, and typically you want to fly in mode 2. That's sort of the standard, and you do have customizing options available for that, but mode 2 is what we're going to fly in today because that's going to be your default for most any drone. So you hear that beeping. That's the obstacle sensors on the front of the drone because it's less than about 8 or 9 feet away from me. So it's telling me, hey, there's something in the way, and that something in this case is me and the tripod and the camera. So anyway, I'm going to take the left stick. Pushing the left stick forward will take the drone up. And camera up a little bit. What I want to do is lock onto the drone here. Now I'll push that left stick forward a bit and come on up. Now it's up past me now, so now it's not beeping, of course, it's not getting that obstacle sensor. The drone's about 10 feet in the air, so that's cool. We're getting a little wind now, you can see it bouncing around a little bit, that's no big deal. Now again, like I mentioned, that left stick, you push it forward, it goes up. You pull it back towards you or down, it's going to bring the drone down. It kind of makes sense, right? Now the right stick, again, we're sticking in mode 2, we're not talking about any other modes today. The right stick works differently. If you push the right stick forward,
the drone flies forward. If you pull it back toward you, it's going to fly backwards. If you push it to the left, it's going to fly to its left, not necessarily your left. And that's something you have to work on in practice, is your orientation. You're flying to the drone's left or right, depending on how it's facing. So like right now, I'm going to bring it down so we get a little more perspective with what's going on out here. So you can see that goalpost and some of those other things back there. Now the drone's facing us, okay? So I'm going to push the stick to the right. But which direction is the drone going? It's going to the left because its right is on the other side of us. Now I'm going to push it to the left and see what it does. It's coming back. Hear that obstacle sensor again. So you can see how that orientation is something important to be aware of. And that particularly becomes important if you're flying a little bit away at a distance, and you always want to keep the drone in your visual line of sight. But these things are kind of small. You get them out there, and it's kind of tricky to tell if it's going forward or backward, or away from you or toward you. And there's controls on the screen to manage that, but it's good just to know how to manually do it. Now, since we're talking about left and right, there are a couple different things in that. As far as flying left, flying right, or turning left and turning right. Okay, you might ask, what's the difference? Well, of course, we just saw what flying left and right does or means. But turning left or right is how you'll position the camera. Because most gimbals, even though they're a 3-axis gimbal, they won't turn left or right. Now, I'm not sure how well you can see this on the camera, but I'm going to rotate the gimbal down. So I'm pointing the camera straight down. Now again, I'm not recording anything off the camera today, and we're not getting into camera settings, but I'm talking about this for terms of orientation. So you can see how I can adjust that gimbal up and down, and I've got control of that. But that's really all the camera control you've got. Some drones offer a little more upward tilt for the camera, whatever. But again, we're not talking about all that kind of stuff today. We're talking about directional control and control of the aircraft itself. So anyway, flying left and right versus turning left and right. Alright, so how do you turn? Remember that left stick? You push it forward, the drone goes up. Pull it back, the drone comes down. So you push it left and right, and that's called yawing. That's a yaw action. So that turns it on a vertical axis, and that repositions the camera to give you that panoramic shot or that rotating shot. And you can get some really cool stuff in a variety of ways using this. Like if you do a top-down, again, I'm going to pitch the camera straight down. If you're up over, say, a building, a house, trees, anything interesting, you can get a neat perspective like that with the camera down and do a rotate. That's going to give you that really cool kind of spiral shot. Now, of course, you can do that in post, but it's kind of nice to get it out of the camera, too. So we had a little gust there. Now, why is it important to know these things? Well, getting out and practicing, and again, this sounds so basic. I hope it doesn't sound silly to you, because it does escape you, these basic fundamental things, because we get so focused on doing trickier maneuvers and things like that. But it makes a difference in when we combine these things. So, let's push a little bit by the wind. We'll go up a little bit, so hopefully you can see this a little better. But say you're flying forward, and you want to do a rotate. So I've got stick input going on both sticks. I'm yawing with the left stick. I'm flying the drone forward. You see how it's giving me this nice arc? And it's coming around here. So, not sure if the camera lost us or not. But let's drop back down here. So anyway, I'm not going to get into this real long, but I just wanted to start off with this point as far as think about your orientation. Again, if the drone is looking at you, its left is your right, and vice versa. Your rotation is going to be counterclockwise or clockwise. Boy, that wind is really picking up. That's how unpredictable wind can be. Like we looked at the UAV forecast earlier. It said pretty calm winds. It's 4 miles an hour. Right now we're probably getting 8 to 10, maybe a little bit higher gusts. So it's really starting to bounce us around a little bit. But that's okay. A drone like the Evo can handle it. But anyway, think about those orientations. If you have a drone, get out there and fly with it. I come out to this field a lot, and well, now the lockdown's easing up some, and I'm getting out a little bit more. I come out here fairly often to just practice this kind of stuff. Just get out here and get a handle on different techniques. If I want to try a different stick setting, anything like that, but just to practice and perfect the basics. Because when you get out and you're actually doing a shoot, this is what you're going to be using. This is what you're going to do. And the smoother you are with it, the more you can, with your flying that is, the more you can concentrate on your camera, your videography, and getting your shots right. Because these are going to be the basic maneuvers you're going to use in every single shot, every single time you fly. So anyway, hey, I wanted to throw this out there too. I live in Central Florida. I'm right near Disney World. And if anybody is local to the area and you'd want to come out and fly with me one day, you're more than welcome to. If you're visiting, once things free back up and all, and if you happen to visit this area, hey, you're more than welcome to get in touch with me. We'll come out and fly, give you a little hands-on experience. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. But as always, I appreciate you taking a look at this episode. And going forward, we're going to get into more of these little flight lessons. They're going to get more and more advanced. We're going to get more and more into cameras. We're going to get more into making manual orbits. Again, there's a lot of built-in automated flight actions like orbits and rocket and droning and all these things. And that's cool to have them built in. But if you are really flying as a professional, you want to be able to do this stuff manually. You want to be the pilot. You don't always want the software to do it. But there are some cool things that you can use part of the software and part of your manual skills. So I'm just really big on perfecting your manual skills. That's going to make you the best drone operator to get the best shots that you want for your films. And it's going to give you tons more versatility in your creativity because you're going to be able to look at shots a different way and get out there and get what you want. So anyway, thanks for watching. Always get in touch with me if you have any questions. Check out our YouTube link. Give us a like and a share. Also on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're everywhere. Romero Pictures Indie Brigade or Indie Brigade. And again, wide open. I'm a mentor at the Indie Brigade, so if you want to book a session, we'll do a Zoom chat or FaceTime or whatever and talk about the stuff and get you up to speed. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and see you next week.